Everybody, in this video, we're going to be going over some of the basic search tools to actually looking at areas and looking at properties and how to best use the system. So right off the bat, we're going to keep it to simple and basic searches for this video. We're not going to get too complex with it. So again, at the top bar, the menu bar, we have the different tools that you can end up selecting. And we're going to stick with the search tool for this one. Now you can access your saved searches, your saved hot sheets, recent searches, all from this section right here. But really what I want to show you today is just going based off of a quick search. Again, there's a bunch of different searches, like you could search based off of address, radius, custom, but we're going to stick with quick searches for this video. So up here, you have the general criteria tab. That you can end up selecting from. And I know this looks different from the previous MLS, but just notice at the top, right next to general criteria, we have the spot for additional criteria as well. This is where you're really going to be able to deep dive into what you're looking for when it comes to a property. It has stuff like to be able to search with the taxes, with the association fees, and like capping out a certain amount that you might want to go into, on what appliances would even be included, on if there's attachments or not, or if there's an attic, basement, all this stuff. So like, I believe complex and subdivision is on this page of additional criteria as well. I'll let you know in just one second. You can search by new subdivision and whatnot, but going back to general criteria, just to go over what we can use on this first page, is checking off whether or not it is a residential property or a rental or a lot and acre. Right now, we're going to stick to residential. Adult community. Oh, and I'm sorry. Right below that, then you can actually choose whether it's a single family home, a condo, townhome, co-op, mobile home. Right now, we're just going to select single family just for the purposes of an example. Adult community, we're going to say no, but this is where you would check if you were to use one or be looking for a property in an adult community. Statuses of the property. So depending on what you want to look for, whether you're looking for comps just to send your client, or whether you're looking for just to send them active homes that are on the market, this is where you would alter that under the statuses. So right now, I just want to only send my clients properties that are active as of right now. But again, if you were to go to closed, if you wanted comps, this is where you would put the date, close date through, whatever date you want, whether it's today's date or an alternative date as well. Also, if you were looking for withdrawn or expired, this is where it would be. Underneath statuses, you actually have the option to go for pricing. So let's just say I wanted to send properties to my client between 300 and 400,000. Now it already has the other three significant figures filled out as 000. So if you need to make alterations to that, please do so. But typing in 300 in the first box will automatically make it 300,000 unless you state otherwise. And then 400 becomes 400,000. Counties, I want to go specifically in Middlesex County. And the blue bar at the top actually shows you how many active properties, well, we have it selected as active, but active listings that are currently available in Middlesex County. And you could also just select by area as well. So maybe I want to send properties specifically in East Brunswick. You simply type in either Middlesex or East Brunswick, and it's going to come up with the option and the code for this one. So for area, East Brunswick is just East Brunswick. So now we have 28 listings that we know are active, or at least the agents have them as active, between 300 and 400,000. Then we could look and search based off of address. Those of you who are familiar with the previous MLS, is very similar to that. Those of you who are not, you might be doing like a radius. You might be searching for a specific property, and you can input that property address starting with the street number, going through a specific section. Maybe you want to look at all the homes on a specific street. So you might do from 1 to 100 if that's how many houses are on that particular street or development. Street name, the suffix, unit number, begins with exact, contains, like all of those different categories. But again, we're just doing a basic search where I'm just going to send my client properties in an area. Let's assume it's East Brunswick, between 300 and 400,000 like they asked for. So complex subdivision development is actually on the first page under general criteria. I was looking at it in additional because I thought that's where it was, but it actually ends up being here. So we're going to leave it blank for now because we're assuming we don't have too much of a picky client. Zip codes, if you want to add those. So bedrooms, bathrooms, year built, age description. So again, check off these things, as you need them. I'm just going to leave it as, you know what, we'll do it from at least 3 bedrooms and through. If you leave this blank, it'll just keep it open. So now we have 27 listings, as you can see at the top, that are active. I'm going to say at least 2 bathrooms, total bathrooms. I don't care if it's 1.5 or not. So now we're at 23 listings. Age description, I'm not going to fill this out, but again, you can include or exclude. Basement type requires all, or requires, so it requires all check marks. So you can check off multiple things if needed, like, a full basement and then fully finished. And then you can also check all required, the check marks, or yeah, so okay. So we're going to leave basement type blank for right now. Include only listings with pictures. Don't know necessarily why you would send that. Maybe you have a client that it's just like, if they can't actually see what the home looks like, you're not interested in sending it. So then you can check off that. Let's see if any of them don't have pictures. No, all of them have pictures as per the number at the top. Lot size, listing numbers. So before we go ahead and press view results, which these are a decent amount of results for what we're looking for in a very basic search, I want to go over additional criteria with you guys as well. So it starts out with the assigned spaces. So we're talking about parking, and assigned spaces would most likely be for like a condo or a townhome complex, and if those were assigned spots for anything. But again, we're just looking for single family homes in East Brunswick, so we're just going to skip over that. Carport spaces, yeah, I'm not going to include that either. Number of stories for the property, maybe you would want to include that, maybe you wouldn't. Number of rooms. Accessibility features, so just if you needed any type of, additional accessibility for any type of handicaps or anything at all. Amenities, this is definitely going to be for more of like condo and townhome complexes. If you're looking for something like having a private pool or having an elevator or having an outdoor pool, these are where you would include all of the ones that you want, and you would do so by checking off. Amps for the electricity for the house, annual taxes. So if you want to, filter based off of that as well. Association fee, appliances. So you can really deep dive into the search criteria with Rapatoni. It definitely looks like it gives you a lot of options to be able to select and to be able to search by, just in the quick search is what it's called. So it's filtered by basement. And if you have some of these additional criteria, I know under general criteria, it allows us to filter whether or not it has a basement, whether it's fully furnished, just like more of the basic searches. But on the second additional criteria, it really lets you go over like the intricacies of that basement, on if it has a den, if there's daylight, if it's a walkout, if there's a bedroom down there, all of that good stuff. Basement and garage, so includes, excludes with check marks. Bathroom features, whether or not it has jacuzzi style tubs, saunas, like, again, it just goes over more general criteria. So rather than put all this information under general, where you might not need it, it now has it on additional. So definitely check this if you don't see something on general. It most likely is included here, and we won't go through all of these because it just keeps going on and on. But this is, again, the page where you would deep dive into. And I want to just show you the results because I think 23 is good for now. So we're going to click view results in order to see the listings that are active. I'm expecting to see 23 listings because that's what it says over here. So great. Now we have the 23 results, and you're going to notice that, as I said in my previous video, this is the menu bar up here. This stays fixed. This doesn't change no matter what page you're on. And I think that this is the main point that people get a little confused about with Rapatoni, or one of them. And I know it can be a pretty complex system to use or be kind of confusing. But underneath the menu bar, you have the toolbar. And as I said in previous videos, this changes depending on what page you're on. So looking through these properties. So yeah, as I was saying before, looking through these properties, to be able to interact with the properties in this system, you want to use the toolbar, but know that you can only use the toolbar on the properties that you have selected. So if you click one of these buttons and you don't have any properties selected, it's going to come up with an error message. And we can kind of see that right now. Like, let's say if we wanted to click CMA. So it says, you have not selected any listings. Use the checkboxes along the left side to select at least one before going forward. So we can click on these properties individually by just saying, okay, we're going to select this property right here. And then you can view the page as normal, and all the information that you're used to seeing on a listing sheet is going to be here. The pictures, again, you can select. And it brought us to another page, but you guys get the point, especially with the pictures. I'm not going to go through these. But yes, now you have this page, and you notice that we selected on this particular listing itself. And again, the toolbar changes. So then we can select reports, exports, emailing this particular listing, mapping this particular listing, finding comparables, neighborhood report, adding to cart, and different options that appear with that. Also, the print button is all the way to the right. And then going back to this, excuse me, going back to this, you can go back to list. And then just comb through. After you look through all the properties, you might want to select, a few of these that you might actually find as being good fits to your client. You could either hit save or you could hit email. And we're just going to go through like some of the basic things. So just if you're emailing this to your client, you have the ones that you have checked off. We're going to email those. Here's where you actually get to choose what type of report you want to send to your client. Maybe you want to send client full CJMLS, include the pictures, include office information in email. Okay, and then when you're ready, it's up here rather than right below. So you go back to the toolbar again. For anything, if you're looking for an action to be able to take you to the next step, and it isn't right in front of you, and it's not where you think it should be, like, in my opinion, if Rapatoni was made like, more intuitively, they would have right under this section right here as the spot where you then click to be able to email the listing. But that's just not how it's made. It refers to the toolbar for most things that you want to end up taking action on. So we press submit. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, great. So it takes us to this page, and this is where you can look up your client, or you can add a new client to this. I'm not going to bother with that, but you can. 2 is where you put in the email addresses for your client that you want to send it to. You can CC, BCC, and then put your signature from, subject for the property, short notes, and then you can always click to preview your selected listings, which you guys should be pretty familiar with. And then when you are ready, and again, this is where Rapatoni can confuse people, rather than having a button down here that says like send an email, which you would kind of expect, it's up on the toolbar. So again, this black bar right here is the toolbar. Anytime you don't see something, always check there first, and you click send email, and then it will send to your client. So this was just a quick video to do a basic search. We're going to get into saved searches, going to get into emailing, like doing automatic emails with your clients, and also CMAs. But again, this is just some basic functionality. So, this is it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.